Troubleshooting using I/O forcing and toggling. The force function is a Studio 5000 software tool that allows you to turn on or off an input tag instruction regardless of the actual physical status of the input device. That is, whether it's activated or deactivated. The force can also be applied to outputs connected or wired to physical devices and can be turned on or off regardless of the logic that drives the output. The force function operates in exactly the same manner in both the classic and contemporary look and can be launched from the online bar. Forcing can be used with discrete as well as with analog inputs and outputs. However, forcing is used with the real I/O, meaning the physical I/O devices wired to the ControlLogix system. The forcing of I/O in a controller has a couple of very important concepts that we have to pay attention to. As we know in the classic, if we click on the Forces tab in the online bar, and if there are no forces applied, it displays no forces. The Studio 5000 shows us to the right of the tab the status of the I/O forces for ladder diagrams at the top and the forcing status of sequential function charts, or SFC, language at the bottom. On the contemporary, when we click on the Forces tab with no forcing activated, it will show no forces as a label, and right above is displayed the status of the I/O forces in a similar fashion as in the classic look. As mentioned before, both Studio 5000 interface looks function in the same manner. However, because of the trend toward the newer contemporary version, we're going to focus more on the explanation of the forcing function using the contemporary, although both accomplish the same goal and you should have no problem if you're using the classic. Forcing consists of two procedures that we need to do. One is to install the force on an I/O tag, and the other one is to enable the force at the controller. This graphic can help us understand better the install and enable settings. We can install one or more forces in the code, symbolized by the switches in the graphic being closed. When a force is installed, it is like closing the switch. However, an installed force is only on the code, not taking effect, because before taking effect at the controller, enable has to be set. When enable is set, then the forces will take place. If no forces are installed and the forces are enabled, when a force is installed, it will take effect immediately. The status of whether a force is installed or not, and whether it is enabled or disabled, is shown in the Forces tab's online bar description under I/O forces. Remember that to be able to see the Forces status description display, the Forces tab had to be selected so that the description can show. The action of enabling, disabling, or removing forces can be selected from the drop-down menu at the Forces tab in the online bar under I/O forcing for ladder diagrams. The controller has an amber yellow LED indicator in its front panel that indicates the status of the forces in the controller. If there are no forces installed or enabled, the LED will be off. If forces are installed in the code, the LED will be flashing. And if forces are enabled, the LED will be a solidly lit amber yellow color. This is a graphic representation of the amber yellow light, solid or blinking, in the online bar display for the forces installed and enabled or disabled conditions. In the online bar status description, the words enabled will replace disabled and installed will replace none installed. In the online bar descriptions display section, you will also find an icon represented by a loop or magnifying glass to the right, which can be used to quickly find all the forces installed in the code.